What's going on, family? I'm Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuff series. I'm going to continue my conversation with you concerning the complete history of boxing. The fighter you're looking at now is Leroy Hayes. I will not be talking about Leroy Hayes right now. He will be in a video that I'm going to be doing probably next week on black fighters that you most likely have not heard of, or is not as popular as other black fighters that you heard of. Fighters such as Billy Arnold and Leroy Hayes, and Billy Sweet Pea Peacock, many of those fighters I'll be talking about sometime next week or so. It'll be a 1 to 2 or 3 part series, and that should be a lot of fun. That will be part of this complete history of boxing series. But right now I'm going to be talking about Jeff Smith, the Bayonne Globe trotter. He was from Brooklyn, New York. He was born April 23rd, 1891, and he died February 3rd, 1962 in Levittown, New Jersey. He stood 5 foot 9 inches, weighed 155 to 166 pounds. He was managed by Al Lippy. He defeated Eddie McCarthy. He was recognized as the Australian middleweight champion March 14th, 1914. It's funny about him, he had 28 recorded losses, over 190 to 350 bouts. He was one of the only fighters to travel around the globe and back to fight fighters. Now, Jeff Smith would face and defeat Joe Burrell. I'm going to show you Joe Burrell for one moment. Joe Burrell was a very interesting fighter. He was from England. Let me show you Joe Burrell. Now, this is Joe Burrell from England. This photo was taken in 1913. I just wanted to show you Joe Burrell. He was from England. A lot of these fighters I have in my scrapbooks, so I have to, but then I have a lot of photos also. But this is Joe Burrell. Just wanted to show him for a moment. Jeff Smith would take on one-time world middleweight champion George Chipp, Australian middleweight champion Les Darcy, colored world light heavyweight champion Lee Anderson, heavyweight contender Bob Mohart, former world light heavyweight champion Mike Matee, the former world middleweight champion Frank Mentel, middleweight contender Zulu Kid. I showed you him in the scrapbook. Jimmy Clapperly, I showed you him as well. He faced Harry Greb 7 times. Between May 19th, 1916, see if I can remember, February 20th, 1922. Greb was a one-time America's light heavyweight champion, and he was a one-time world middleweight champion. There were 2 New York rivals, Willie Lewis and Jack Penny. He faced St. Paul Mike Gibbons many times. Faced George Compartier, who was a world light heavyweight champion. Faced Gene Tunney twice, who was America's light heavyweight champion. He was a one-time world heavyweight champion. Speaking of Gene Tunney, he was an ex-AEF, America's Expeditionary Forces light heavyweight champion, 1919. Would also take on Tommy Loughlin, one-time light heavyweight champion. Jeff Smith was probably the guy that I could say was the goods. He was the goods. And I just wanted to talk about him briefly because you don't hear a lot about Jeff Smith. Hardline Boxing will talk to you about Jeff Smith. He has mentioned him many times. But Jeff Smith is the guy. Jerome Jeffords. I have a lot of write-ups on him in my columns of scrapbooks. Probably about, I have a whole scrapbook of him, 1,000 pages, but I have write-ups, it's like special write-ups, handwritten write-ups on him way back in 1914. Very interesting writing and information on Jeff Smith. So I just wanted to talk about him briefly. Another fight I want to talk about is Jack Blackburn. July 24th, 1922. Charles Henry Blackburn, Chappie. He was born 1883 in Kentucky. He died April 24, 1942 in Chicago, Illinois. He stood 5 foot 10, weighed 133 to 160 pounds. He would face Joe Gans, the current world lightweight champion 3 times, Sam Langford 6 times, 5-time colored heavyweight champion, Philadelphia lightweight sensation Dave Holly 5 times, Larry Temple 2 times, George Cole 3 times, Joe Burrell, I showed you him 2 times, the former world light heavyweight champion Philadelphia Jack O'Brien, George Gunther 10 times, Harry Greb, the world middleweight champion, and the America's light heavyweight champion. Kid Norfolk, who was the colored light heavyweight champion, colored welterweight champion, Panama Joe Gans. He was the goods. He faced Theodore Tiger Flowers May 25th, 1923. 12-round no decision contest in Toledo, Ohio. That's also where Jack Dempsey would face Jess Willard, 1919, for the World Heavyweight Championship title. Theodore Tiger Flowers was known as the Georgia Deacon. He was born August 5th, 1895 in Camilla, Georgia. He died November 16th, 1927 in Midtown, New York. He stood 5 foot 10 inches, weighed 157 to 169 pounds, and was managed by Walk Miller. Tiger Flowers became the first black world middleweight champion, defeating Harry Greb, 1926, Pete Latzo, Allentown Joe Gans, Joe Tut Jackson, battling Geehee, Sam Langford, Panama Joe Gans, Lee Anderson, Kid Norfolk, Maxie Rosenblum. I'm just rambling from the top of the head here. In fact, let me show you Jack Blackburn for one moment. Let me show you one. I'm very proud to own this photo of Jack Blackburn, Chappie. He was a phenomenal fighter. He's in the Hall of Fame as a trainer, but not as a fighter. That's a problem. It's just as much of a problem as Harry Wiley Sr. not being in the Hall of Fame as a trainer. As you know, Harry Wiley Sr. trained the great Sugar Ray Robinson and many others. But Jack Blackburn, what a hell of a fighter this man was. He would train the great Joe Louis, Joe Walcott, Jersey Joe, Sammy Mandel, and Lou Ambers, and many, many others. This is the famous Jack Blackburn. All right, I'm Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuff Series. All Greek fights and all Greek fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. Look out for videos next week. I'll be naming a lot of black fighters that you probably are not familiar with. So tune in. Thanks for listening. Be well. Peace. Before I end this video, let me show you one of my Mecca cards. This is Joe Gans. Joe Gans was my #1 greatest lightweight champion of all time. So let me turn the card around. I don't want to take it out the sleeve, but this is Joe Gans. This is profile. This is the back of the card. I have the entire collection of these cards. Mecca Cigarettes cards. This thing's almost impossible to get now. They're so expensive. But this is one of my 5,000 boxing cards that I have. Joe Gans. All right, this is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuff Series. All Greek fights, all Greek fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. Thanks for listening. Be well, and see you in the next video. Peace.